Well, hello there. It's Friday, September 22nd, 2023, and this is your weekly aircraft global market update. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like these videos, please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. It helps the algorithm spread the message. And of course, we would like to get the word out for this channel because we are trying to garner a larger audience so we can pull more data, more accurate data, and bring transparency to the used aircraft market for sales. Sales websites do not give us enough information. They kind of have a vested interest to keep that information on lockdown, and we're trying to create transparency like you see in real estate. What do aircraft really sell for? What are they really worth? We would like to see purchase agreements. We would like to see comments in the comments section with what you paid or what you're willing to pay for aircraft that you are currently in the market for. So please, let's share that information. And without further ado, we'll get into this week's video review of the aircraft that are currently for sale on Controller and what the market is looking like. So overall sentiment since last week has not changed much. If anything, I would say things were maybe a little more grim. We've seen our first kind of downtick in the stock markets after kind of a late summer rally, and it looks like that rally is coming to an end with no good news ahead. Credit card rates are the highest they have been in decades. The U.S. housing market heading for the largest slowdown since 2011. And while we were looking for a handful of articles to kind of click on and see how the economies are going, we just decided to post a whole bunch of headlines here because as we just kind of look at the global economy, take a look at these headlines on the left. Germany's economy in the spotlight. Why? Weak and undercut by lack of competitiveness. Russia's economy headed for stagnation. The Eurozone economy likely contracted this quarter. Singapore, okay, there's some good news in Singapore, and on down to the bottom, what higher for longer Fed policy will mean for markets and the economy. Real quick before we move on, that's going to affect a lot of things. Higher rates for longer. Now they're talking about maybe not reducing rates down to a more neutral rate until around 2026. Folks got to make a decision with their wealth, with their savings. Do they acquire a large expensive item such as a second home or a new aircraft, or do they keep it in the bank where they're making 5 or 6%? A lot more people are going to be making that decision, especially on the sunset of the bonus depreciation now, going from 80% to 60% after this year. The depreciation's not there for businesses and expenses to make big purchases. The incentive to save is there with higher interest rates. We think this all goes towards a slowdown, not just in the economy overall, but especially in what we're focused on, which is used aircraft in the aviation market. Take a look at this. We've hit another record this week on Controller. More aircraft than I have ever seen in decades in looking at the Controller website. 4,810 aircraft for sale this week. And I'll give you a second to look through those numbers. We've got single engine aircraft on the top, from pistons to turboprops. In the middle section, we've got helicopters. And in the bottom section, we've got jets, some of the more common jets that folks are interested in, not necessarily really old jets or really expensive jets, so expensive that maybe folks don't care what they cost. These are the price-sensitive aircraft that we'll call it, where people of wealth acquire these, but they're still sensitive to pricing. So pretty stagnant. If anything, we've got increasing inventories we see on the bottom, but look at it. Starting the single engine area up top here, 300 Cirrus SR-22s. I keep saying this every week, and I've only been watching them since August 25th there, but I would not want to be selling a used SR-22 right now. How do you differentiate your one against the 300? And then looks like TTX is about the same, just kind of sitting at 10. Meridians 35, 36, about the same. TBM maybe sold a couple, maybe the listings just expired and we'll see them pop back on the market. We don't know. And the helicopters, one increase in a Raven 22, not much, or R44, not much movement there. R66s, maybe some of those have sold, or maybe some of those listings have expired and sellers have just kind of given up. One uptick and a goose to 109 grand. Otherwise, pretty much the same. Nothing's moving since August. These numbers just are not changing. Moving down to the jet area, maybe a couple Vision jets sold. I don't see the value proposition for Vision jets. They're very expensive. They're single engine. There's other jets that'll do more for less. And in my opinion, the second engine is always going to be a great reason to not acquire a Vision jet, in my opinion. I'd rather have a Mustang. And yet the Mustangs aren't really selling. 16 holding strong. We see one moving off, one moving on here and there. As I've been monitoring these over the past several weeks, it's usually the ones that are the best deal, of course, and the ones that are crazy premium are not. So the interesting thing I'm finding is that I believe there's an accuracy to the numbers that we put forth here. And we're seeing that in the market, because the ones that I'm saying are kind of ridiculous and not a great deal, they're sitting. And the ones I'm saying, oh, maybe I think this could be a decent price or approaching a decent price, those are the ones that are moving. But of course, sellers still think it's a seller's market and they're holding strong with their prices for a very long time. It's some of the most stubborn pricing I've seen in a while, but I think we are ready to cave, because look at this, 4,810 aircraft on the market. Honda jets aren't moving. This is going to be the first week we're actually going to kind of go over Honda jets and take a look at a couple that are on controller and what their pricing looks like. Citation M2s, not selling, not moving. CJ3 pluses, we've seen a couple of move there, but pretty much just holding steady right around 10. CJ4s not moving. And Phenom 300s just holding strong right around 20, not really moving. And here is your inventory charted since June 7th. Do you notice a trend here? More and more inventory. I mean, we're growing by like 100 aircraft every month. The baby boomer generation is getting older. There are going to be a lot of pilots that are going to be hanging up their wings here in the coming future. And there are going to be a lot of aircraft that do not have pilots to fill their seats, not just on a civilian level, but of course on a professional level too, which is what we see in the news. So 4,810 aircraft this week, September 22nd. It's a lot. These charts don't really show a heck of a lot, just kind of show a flat line. You're looking at jets right now and not a whole lot of movement. It looks like Vision jets are selling a little bit. That trend is coming down from nearly 40 down to 31. But I do believe there's a great deal of folks just giving up on selling their aircraft as well and taking it off the market. We just started doing this in June, but a lot of the aircraft I see on controller have been there since the beginning of the year. We're talking 6-7 months. So some of these folks probably just sick of paying the monthly fees or the fees for premium listings, or just going to fly their aircraft and not try to attempt to sell it anymore. Phenom 100's ticking back up a little bit. Honda jets stagnant, M2 stagnant, maybe CJ3's slight downtick. But for the most part, we got straight lines here, guys. Taking a look at helicopter inventory, definite uptick in Raven 2s over the past several weeks. Uptick in Robinson 66 here in the last week. And Bell 407's just kind of floating slowly up, and then everything else is just holding. Why? I don't think folks are looking to buy new helicopters right now, especially VIPs. Price sensitive. Fuel is going up. That's one headline we didn't hit this week. Just paid $5 a gallon today for gas, and that means Jet A is going to be so much more. And then of course we're maybe heading into recession with locked in high interest rates for over a year. People are thinking about saving right now, not about buying their next helicopter. Single engine inventory, look at that. The Cirrus SR22 week after week just sits there so far above everything else. And I don't know, we're grouping, a few different models in there with the SR22 and the different generations, but still 300 aircraft is an awful lot. Everything else in the bottom, pretty much a flat line, not moving, not selling. All right. And every week we kind of show you this. This is our transparent guesstimate, our best estimate, and our feeling and thoughts and opinions on where pricing should be at in the market. This is based on a lot of history. I mean, we have moved a lot of aircraft here, and we've got a lot of contacts and access to a lot of different purchase agreements over time. And so When we look at this, we're saying, hey, historically, maybe not the last year, maybe not 18 months ago when prices were just in this crazy bubble through the roof. But what we're saying is, generally speaking, we feel confident in prices settling in a normal market kind of around these numbers. This week, we circled over on the right side. We created 110% inflation adjustment from our historical kind of trend analysis for COVID and kind of the recovery from that. And we think that's just kind of baked in at this point. I don't see us going back to 100% there. That is not baked into recent aircraft, 2021, 2022, as it should not be. But it is baked into aircraft pre-COVID. So this chart here is 500 hours. Numbers on the top are what we believe the manufacturer's suggested retail price was roughly for those aircraft. And on the bottom, at 500 hours, that's what we believe, our opinion, is that these aircraft would be worth. You'll see in the top row under annual depreciation, what we believe these aircraft depreciate annually, then hourly, and then what we believe the maximum they depreciate down to. You'll notice that Cessna Corvallis kind of hold their value. There's not a lot of them. They only depreciate to about 78% of their value. And then they hold that no matter how many hours are on the airframe until you hit that toxic number of a TBO or 3,000 hours where there's just so few buyers that want that aircraft. No one wants an aircraft they can't resell. And a long history is part of that story. Whether an aircraft historically, in our opinion, is a toxic asset or not and difficult to get rid of, I think historically Mustangs back in the day were hard to get rid of. I think that's going to come back. They're not produced anymore. That gives buyers some pause. CJ4s, same thing. Pro Line 21, pro pilot flown only. There's not a whole lot of owner pilots that want to fly a Pro Line 21 system. They'd rather have a Garmin. And so that limits the buyer market for CJ4s to professional charter type markets. Whereas the Phenom 300, you're still selling to owner flyers, owner pilots. All right, so that's this chart. You can pause, rewind, come back at any time. We're going to speed through the rest of these. This is your 115% inflation adjustment at 500 hours. This is back to 110 at 1,000 hours on the airframe. And there's 115%, 1,000 hours on the airframe. Back to 110%, 1,500 hours on the airframe. And then 115%, 1,500 hours on the airframe. We have some aircraft we price out after that, but we don't keep the charts in here for that. And then, of course, things go toxic after you hit 3,000 hours, and we knock another 10% off the aircraft. Moving right into Mustang inventory, not much changed. This screen is the exact same from the last week. Sellers not moving down on pricing at all. That first 2010 Mustang there that was reduced by $20,000, that was at least 2 or 3 videos ago now that was reduced, just 20 grand. Still, in our opinion, a 16.3% premium for 510 kilo Foxtrot. We believe, our opinion, that's a $1.8 million aircraft. This is us reacting and sharing our opinion on controller ads. Our favorite Citation Mustang, this 2008 being sold by Aero Solutions. If it had programs and the programs were paid up, gosh, this would be a great bird. But at $2.3 million with unpaid programs, we believe it's tremendously overvalued at its premium of 27.5%. We place a value on it of $1.8 million when the dust settles. And then the next one, November 66 Echo Sierra, with almost that toxic 3,000 hours on airframe. They're asking $2,255,000 for a very old airplane at this point. What is that? 12, 13, 16 years old, almost hitting that toxic number. And yeah, 28.8% premium. We believe that's a $1.75 million bird. Moving on to the next one, a 2008 Cessna Citation Mustang, $2,050,000 is the ask for 280 Alpha Zulu. Again, 2,500 hours. It's a lot. We believe that's a 17.1% premium and an actual real fair market value. When the dust settles and the economy settles into a normal economy of $1.75 million. 2007 Mustang listed at $2.095 million. That's 79 Sierra Golf. 3,730 hours. So few buyers over 3,000 hours. We put it on a good day at $1.6 million, giving this a 30.1% premium in their ask. And then still the best valued aircraft, if it passes a great pre-buy inspection, would be this one out of the United Kingdom. Golf Sierra Charlie Charlie Alpha at 2,662 hours, asking 1.795 million. We place a value on that of 1.725 million. So that's a 4.1% premium, but supposedly, according to the folks over there may or may not be some corrosion on that aircraft. In other words, it may have a story. And so you'd have to put that in a pre-buy to find out. But it's got programs, and that's a decent price. All right, the 2010 there sold, maybe the listing was just removed. It was from Jet Aviva, and they do claim that that aircraft went under contract within 24 hours of being listed. Hey, if that's the case, that's great. Jet Aviva is a great marketing engine, and they do have an ability to create a sense of urgency in the market, even though there's tons of Mustangs listed. And, we believe this is at a 25% premium and it had a value of 1.9 million. Hey, maybe we're wrong. Or maybe just someone really wanted that aircraft, but it's gone for now. Maybe it's under contract. Maybe it's sold. The 2011, 1.95 million in Switzerland. And we believe that's a $1.45 million aircraft. 34.5% premium is the ask on it. European taxes and stuff usually always inflate aircraft over there. So it makes sense that it's listed high. Plus the dollar against the euro is never awesome, or against the Swiss franc. So yeah, the dollar is going to, it's going to look worse on our end here in America. 2009 Cessna Citation Mustang, and that is 217 Golf Romeo. The ask is 2.195 million for a 2,400-hour aircraft. It's a lot. It's approaching that 3,000. We believe that's a 25.4% premium, and it's an actual value $1.75 million. Jet Aviva just released a new Mustang today. You see on the bottom a 2013, one of the newer ones we've seen. This one may not last because of it, because it is the Jet Aviva marketing engine, and it's a newer Mustang. This only has 1,200 hours on it, which is great, and an NXI upgrade. That's fantastic. But ooh, ouch, original paint and interior, 11-year-old paint and interior at this point. Their ask is nearly $2.7 million, which, believe it or not, guys, is what you could buy a 2014, say, Citation M2 for. You could buy one for about 2.8, say, in 2017. So I'm sorry, I take that back. Let's say 2019. 2019, 2020. So you could buy maybe a 2013, 2014 M2, which would have been 6 years old at that point, for around 2.8 million bucks, wholesale pricing. So that's why I say things are still really inflated. This is a new listing. We believe it's got a fair market value of 2 million bucks because it's got the NXI upgrade in just 1,200 hours. We wish it had new paint and interior. We may give it 2.1 at that point, 2.15, maybe 2.2. Probably not, but 2.695 is a lot, and that's a 34.8% premium. Moving on to the M2s, nothing changed on this 2017 Citation M2. 808 hours on this. Hotel Bravo Victor Tango Bravo ask is 4.25 million. We believe that's a 26.8% premium and has an actual value of 3.4 million. 2017 Cessna Citation M2. 4.5 is the ask for 268 hours. We believe fair market value is 3.45 million, 32.3% premium. The next one here, November 933 Romeo Golf, 4.25 million, 28.8% premium. We believe its fair market value is around 3.35 million. Just a dramatic difference on that. A 2022, a couple of them here. One's a Gen 2. I have a hard time believing that other one's not a Gen 2. 6.49 and 6.2 are the ask. We believe both of these are worth right around 5.5 million, which leaves their premium between, 12 and 19%. It's a lot. But hey, that one in the middle with the very American paint job, what is that? 524 Tango Foxtrot. Okay, hey, we're almost in single digits on the premium. you might be able to get that gap pretty close where it's splitting hairs. And still the best deal on M2s in the market at a 5.1% premium is this 2021 November 916 Juliet Hotel from Prime Aircraft in Dallas. It's on programs. It's all paid up, 450 hours total time. We put a fair market value of 4.9 million. You could probably make that offer on that aircraft and get it. But guess what? It's been on the market for a couple weeks now. So either folks don't like that paint job, and I got to be honest, I don't like that weird black swoosh in the front that just kind of ends in a weird place. It's a bad paint job. I don't know who came up with that design, but my humble opinion, it's a terrible design. And sometimes that's why aircraft don't sell. Or it could be that our valuations are even too high and folks aren't willing to pay those numbers right now. All right, last page of M2s, a 2019 from Jetcraft. This was listed at 4.825 million. That's a 13.5% premium, we believe, and it's a $4.25 million aircraft in our humble opinion. And then from OCR down in Long Beach, always got premiums out of there, out of California, 2018 M2. This is 689 kilo Mike, and the price did come down since last week, 195,000. We believe that premium is still at 25% and put a fair market value on this of 3.6 million. Now, I want to make a point out here real quick because some folks might look at this and say, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So how can we have a 2019 with about the same amount of hours that is worth 4.25 million and a 2018, just 1 year difference? That is $3.6 million. That's a $650,000 difference. How can an aircraft a year apart have a difference of, $600,000, $650,000? Well, I'll tell you why. According to our metrics and our paperwork and our understanding, Cessna raised the price of their aircraft in 2019, their manufacturer's suggested retail price, by $300,000. That means the guy that bought this aircraft probably paid 300 grand more brand new than this guy did for the 2018 aircraft. Well, this guy who bought his aircraft in 2018 doesn't get to take the price adjustment Cessna made that he didn't pay for. No. If that's the case and we're correct on that, well, this guy paid more money. So of course, automatically, he's got 300 grand more on that aircraft. If you were to balance that out, that now drops us down to a $3.95 million aircraft. Now the difference is only 300 grand. And those are different premiums here. And there's different hours, and one's a year older. And we've already said before, these depreciate about 300 grand a year historically until they hit a maximum depreciation of about 65% of their whole value. So sorry, you're a year older, you lose 300 grand for that. You weren't in the 2019 price adjustment, you lose 300 grand for that. You've got 200 more hours. You are a $3.6 million aircraft, our humble opinion. Okay. Moving on to the next screen today, for the first day, we're going to bring in Honda Jets. Candidly, we do not have a lot of experience buying and selling these aircraft and moving them. We are at the mercy of kind of seeing what's sitting on the market and for how long, what pricing is, looking at historical manufacturers' suggested retail price. If you've got any data, please share it in the comments, email it to us, send it over. And let us get the data plugged in so that we can share this with everybody and we can fulfill our goal on this channel of creating informed buyers who aren't overpaying for their aircraft. We're trying to create a fair market here. So, but hey, this is a first for us. So we might not be super accurate. And again, as always, this is an opinion on pricing. Okay, we got a 2019 here. Ask is 5.1 million. The reason we put these in between the M2 and the CJ3 Plus is its capability is kind of in between an M2 and a CJ3 Plus. So that will kind of allow you to kind of value them in between those two aircraft. So $5.1 million for something that is better than an M2 at a 2019 with just 645 hours. Hey, that's pretty good, but it is Honda. It's not Cessna. It doesn't have Cessna's network and the same type of maintenance network that Cessna has. or the history and the track record. There's value there. So of course we expect Hondas to start less brand new and to sell less when they're used. We believe this is a $4.2 million aircraft and put a 21.4% valuation on it. For starters, we're going to run with kind of the same numbers as the M2 on this. And I believe we did take out we did take out inflation adjustment. So this is so new at 2019. We don't believe it deserves an inflation adjustment. Maybe this one does. Maybe we're a little off on this. But yeah, so let's take a look at this one. 4.5 million, 1,700 hours. We believe it's a $3.4 million aircraft at a 32.3% premium. And then 3.2 million for this $3.988 million aircraft, 550 hours total time. Now, what is some supporting evidence that we could be right and we could be onto something on a Honda Jet? Well, let's take a look at this one. 3.9, 3.2. What's our gap there? 700 grand. Anybody who puts an offer on this is going to offer a quarter down. So that drops this thing down to 3.6. And that means offers have maybe been coming in on this at 3.6 and the owner's not taking it and it's not selling, or maybe the offers aren't even coming in at 3.6. I would think an owner might take that. So that means the number's less than that people are willing to pay. 4.5, maybe folks are offering 4.1, 4, if they're even offering that. Maybe the owner would be willing to take that. Maybe the offers aren't coming in. And so maybe we're in the threes. And I would say the same thing for this 5.1. Maybe the owner would take 4.8, 4.75. Those offers must not be coming in, which means the market really wants this to go down. These Honda Jets, we've been watching these for a while now. Same Honda Jets have been on the market forever. And the brand is really creating an issue. I would say it's the same problem Cirrus has. They have so many different versions of the SR22. They're making a dramatic marketing mistake. I mean, marketing 101, fire your marketing director. It's like they don't understand marketing. The worst thing you can do in a brand is create brand confusion. And the way you create brand confusion is you call a whole bunch of things the same thing with little delineators. Elite, APMG, there's Elite S, there's Elite 2. It's too much. The market's like, I don't even know what this stuff is. The Cirrus says the SR20, 22, G2, G3. You know, there's so many different versions of that SR22. It makes your head spin. And I think that's part of one of the issues. Some of those aircraft don't move. So little clue to marketing, folks. You want to create a new product or a different product, create a different name. I know that puts you at odds with the FAA because now you got to go through some retesting, but there's got to be a way to have your cake and eat it too without confusing your market. You are confusing the market. And then, hey, at the end of the day, I don't think a lot of people think the Honda Jet are the best looking aircraft. And folks have always said that Honda should have come out with their premium name on the brand, not their base name Honda on the brand. So that's, I think, always going to be an issue with the Honda Jets too. But the Elite 2s, the new ones, those performances are in between an M2 and a CJ3 Plus. Maybe they'll turn that market around. Okay, moving into the CJ3 Plus inventory, did these sell or did the listings just come down? Well, the one in the middle was at a 20% premium. So unless that guy really wanted an orange stripe and a CJ3 Plus, maybe the listing came down, but that one wasn't on the market very long. So I don't know. This one over on the right side, hey, it was a reasonable price. It was at a 7.8% a premium, of course, with probably 110% inflation adjustment on top of that. So yeah, it was a decent price and it moved probably, maybe, or maybe the listing came down. We'll see if it pops back up. These other ones, unchanged here. We're trying to get a new listing over here. We'll try to get some numbers on that next week. We're working with a broker to answer some questions on the value on that aircraft, and we'll have that listed next week. But our fair market value on that 2017 523 Hotel Delta is $6.95 million. We're sure it's going to be listed for well above that. It'll probably be listed, I don't know, my guess, high sevens probably, because it has less hours than that 2018 over there. But again, these things depreciate 300 grand a year. So don't get taken. You deserve the depreciation. You're not buying something new. And so the folks that are selling it deserve to take the hit, and you deserve to take the gain. And that's the trade-off for buying a used aircraft and selling a used aircraft. other than that, no real change here. High premiums on these CJ3 pluses. I don't know why that 2018 up there in the top left, 8.9% premium is not selling. I don't believe that gap is too far to bridge. So I have to wonder if there's a story on that aircraft. Really like to ask at some point. CJ4s, you know, they appear to kind of maybe be moving, or the listings are being taken down. We only got 3 left on here. It's hard for me to believe these are selling because your market is so limited and you got that Proline 21, but I just don't know. First one, 34.1% premium. Second one, a 42.4% premium. And the last one, a 23% premium in our opinion. We believe these are all $6+ million aircraft, and they're currently listed between 7 and 9. So just not really worth our time looking at. We would not be in the market for one of these. Phenom 300, only got 1 left that we can talk with you guys about, even though there's 20 on the market. Everybody puts call for price, and it's hard to keep track of what everything's listed for. We'll try to get some more of these in here next week, but for now, that one in the middle, they dropped at a whopping 150 grand. Wow, down to 7.95 million, but it's an oldie. 2014 with 3,600 hours. Who wants that? That's a 30% premium. I mean, who even wants to spend $6 million on something that has almost 4,000 hours on it? And I'm guessing original paint and interior. So yeah, not our cup of tea. Phenom 300 market, mostly stagnant. Just don't have much to show you because everything is call for price. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to put all of the aircraft up on the screen at the same time. Feel free to pause, rewind, take a look and mark aircraft you're keeping an eye on. This is us giving you a snapshot in time of what the market on controller looks like as we react to controller this day, September 22nd, Friday, 2023. We thank you for joining us, and we hope you will like, comment, subscribe, share, and please share with us some numbers so we can get those in future videos. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Feel free to stop the video at this point or take a peek at aircraft you are interested in. Take care.